Come on. Wait for this thing to actually find the game. There we go. Right. Hello. Welcome back after quite a long hiatus, longer than I was anticipating, to Kerbal Space Program Science Mode. Yeah, so I went home for holiday, which was going to be 1 week, and then became 2 weeks because yeah, we got hit by COVID. So yeah, it's been a bit longer than anticipated getting back to this, but hopefully I'll remember what the hell I was doing. I think we were doing some kind of Eve related thing. I think we test flew an attempted like land and return to orbit thing for Eve, which didn't go very well. So I'm thinking I might try and like update that design, but I'm not going to test it again. I'm just going to update it and try launching it at Eve, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then, yeah, we also need to do a return module as well. So, yeah, without further ado, I think we should just get started. This is updated. This is version 2.12. Some of the mods are apparently not been updated to be compatible, so I did try running my career mode save, and it seemed to work. So, you know, fingers crossed, it should all be fine. But if it crashes, then I guess we'll have to call it a day. But yeah, hopefully. Alright, so VAB, I think. Alright, just double check, because we now have the new version. There is now the built-in. They actually went and incorporated the Kerbal Alarm Clock app into the actual base game. So we do have a whole load of alarms here, which we will eventually transfer. So basically, like new alarms, I'm going to try and put into this. So that eventually we're done with this one. But yeah, until then, yeah, we've still got this Moho to Eve transfer window. So yeah, I feel like we should probably maybe start out by, because I don't think we have. I don't think we have anything Eve related in orbit yet, because we could maybe at least launch the I don't believe so. Let's have a look here. Yeah, I don't think there's anything for Eve in orbit around Kerbal at the moment, is there? No. So we'll do I guess we'll do a bit of do a bit of design first, then we'll launch the so we have yeah, so I feel like the structural parts, maybe the structural tubes aren't, I mean, they don't look really good either, so I'm thinking I might just use the actual like more structural parts. So if we open up, oh yeah, there's a whole like new yeah, there's a whole new like folder based system, so we can start let's do folders by missions. So try that, like transfer 1, and see if like how do we do this? Do we so do Eve, can you like drag this? Can we actually, like, how do you see this? Got nothing, but okay, let's just go to Eve transfer 1. Contains locked or invalid parts. Eve console, let's load that up first. Maybe I can. Okay, so you can Eve transfer 1, so we save it like that, then in theory we get open, then Okay, because this should be again should be sufficient to get to Eve, so we'll launch that at some point. So now we go to the open thing. There's one ship at Eve transfer 1, and load this. Clydesdale, has that been, let's leave for a second and go to the research. Maybe the Clydesdale's been moved to a different, it's possible the Clydesdale's been, because I think I've updated the mod, so maybe the Clydesdale's been moved into a, new, into a new part of the tech tree. Wouldn't have thought so though. Ah, they put it in experimental rocket. Oh, the Rhino. Oh, they moved. Oh, they moved these into. Is this a new? I mean, we can afford it, but I don't know. Was this done in the stock game, or is this something that's been done in the in like, I don't know, but I might as well research it because I do want the I'll make a worry about these later. Alright, I think that was the main thing. Back to the VAB. Right, so we don't want this. We want the EU sample return because we're going to. Yeah, it looks like it was just the Clydesdales, which we're going to get rid of anyway because we're going to be redesigning this, so because it's a wide boy. Because this originally was just to get it into orbit, but yeah, we will remove this for now. I guess leave it there, just in case. Actually, reconnect this. Let's move the whole thing because this is going to be. So one of the things is, yeah. So I'm thinking of just completely redoing. Basically this whole thing, like the entire like upper structure, because it did not work very well last I tried it. So hang on. I feel the sneeze coming. There's a sneeze. Anyway, so yeah, I did notice something that Matt Latley would have. Ooh. Hello, Deadcraft 13. Thank you for the follow. To the moon? Not today. Today is hopefully going to be well, the plan is Eve, but again, I'm very, like, this probably won't work. But I'm not putting any Kerbals on it, so I'm not that bothered if it doesn't. This is just because we have an Eve transfer window, like, about now, so I'm going to try and send something. I've got, like, 3 manned missions to different planets, so I don't want to send any more Kerbals out at the moment, but I do want to try and do, like, a probe mission. So the plan is to try landing on Eve, and, yeah, try landing on Eve, doing some science, and then trying to launch from it. Yeah, no moon today. But no, I was seeing something that like Matt Lamb was doing in one of his videos, which was to use like there was a thing that was like using a bit of like part clipping to be able to put a shielded docking port with a decoupler, so you can actually attach things above it. Although I'm not sure that would work with how that would work, because I want to maintain like the node construction so that we can close the fairing around it. Because I think if you don't like maintain like the central like node linkage, it won't let you close. I mean, I tried building in my other save. I tried sort of designing a giant rover to center Duna, and it wouldn't let me close the fairing around the part nicely because the part was off center. So at the moment I'm thinking like if you connect the so at the moment I'm thinking if you take like for example a structural thing, like probably one of these octagonal strut like that. Then if you take one of these, not like 4 of them, but just like that, so you have an attach point that we can then attach this to. Then if we get a TD12 decoupler, flip it over, attach it to this point here. I'm thinking if we use the offset tool, and like just force offset it by a silly amount, then we can. So this should be in the center of, in the central thing. We can then attach this to this point, and then use the move tool to try and sort of plant it roughly in the center. Kind of like that. And then you grab this, and then you move this down like so. Then you use some that might work. So I have no idea if this will go to place mode then. It's not quite central, which is a bit I don't know if I can I select this, can I sneakily select this part inside here? Maybe if this is like that, and then select this again, and then there you go, that looks a lot more central. So this is basically kind of like trying to cheat your way around being able to attach something above a shielded docking port, essentially, which is what I'm going to try and do. Because then I can we can have the like the top bit sort of structurally based off of this, and then a fairing will close around it, and then we can hopefully get the entire thing into orbit a lot more sort of safely. So go back to structural. I'm going to avoid structural tubes. I'm thinking like girders, like 5 meter cubic truss would be like. Something like that. Is there something a bit more cubic truss adapter long? Okay, we take one of these, flip it over, connect it up like that. We take our cubic truss adapters, and then hopefully these are much. I guess another 5 meter won't hurt, like so. The idea being that maybe these are a bit stronger than structural tubes. And then where is this actually going? In the staging, regards to staging, this would be going somewhere before those four, wouldn't it? Because like the or maybe at the same time. We will decide. And now the question is, can we get a... Oh, there's a 10 meter version. Ah well, might as well use that. Well, it's like 4 of these, so if we replace 4 of these with 2 of these, then same achievement, fewer parts. Right, what have we got here structure-wise? Cubic truss 1.5 meters. Truss adapters. Cubic truss hub. This sounds like a thing that I want. Again, not quite meeting up, but maybe a 0.5 meter variant. I mean, we can use yeah. We can use strut connectors to hopefully join them up. Okay, so that's a thing. Where's that cubic like so. What is it? Interesting that you don't get the four-way symmetry is broken here. That's worrying. There we go, a short truss adapter here. Where have the struts gone? That's interesting. You get you get four-way symmetry at this point. again, I have no idea if this will be structurally sound. But at least we should hopefully have some, so yeah, we attach our upper things to here. Actually, we can also add some, hopefully add some struts here just to make this look a bit more believable. There you go. So yes, I want some more of. Actually, we can go for these kind of truss adapters. Or is it worth grabbing it? Nah, let's. We can add our TD25D couplers to here, and eventually put our upper heat shields on there. We could also stick some fins as well. So I'm thinking of like avoiding the whole using rockets to try and, because in theory, like, once these decouple, this thing should fall below them, and then hopefully like just air resistance will carry these away rather than relying on rockets. And where we want structural, we do want a structural tube for this bit. In the hope that we can close the although I'll be surprised if we can actually. It might be an idea to stick a 2-meter truss there, in the hope that when we attach our 2.10-meter heat shields, I feel like just like removing these decouplers and just having the heat shield jettison be staged. So that would be what are those for? That's those for. Okay, that's these for. So we want these. We want these in their own stage. And by these I mean the heat shields. And we want. So we're just sending the top heat shields first, then the lower heat shields when we're under parachutes. Then this we want, but we basically want to decouple. Actually, I feel like we want these under under the same thing. So yeah. This entire framework will hopefully jettison itself. We can stick some boosters on this one just to have it fly in a fly off, hopefully not destroy anything on its way out. on its way up. So we do need a shed load of parachutes. So the question is, can I mount? I know no mounting points on there, so I do need some. Can we? Oh yeah. Oh nice. You can attach them here. So. So these can be our main chutes. It's interesting use of the. Oh, does it carry on around the? It's gonna make managing these fun. There, so like we can have drogues and mains, I think. So I feel like yeah, I'm not sure exactly when we're going to want to. So it's 6 drogue chutes. And the rest can be mains. So, wherever these have ended up. Got 4 there, and then 2 of them up there. So, we want these to be going after these have jettisoned. So these are our drogue chutes, so we want these to go first. And then, because this thing's going to be very heavy, I'm tempted, can we fit radial mount drogue chutes on? We can. There you go, some drogues, more drogue chutes. So that's 8, like radial ones, 6 big uns. Then we want these ones again, like 1,000. We should have plenty of atmosphere for slowing down. So again, we want these to be going in their own stage, but we want them to be going after. After the main chutes. Actually, if we alt-click, we get them appearing in the same stage. So that is 8 big shoots. Probably get some radial mounts as well. I'm thinking if we put them on here, like so, then these will be appearing somewhere. Where have they gone? Are they? Oh no, they're in the same stage. That's good. Then so hopefully that'll be sufficient. We'll find out if it's not. Then when we come to like decoupling the frame after hopefully a successful splashdown or a successful landing, yeah, so we want these to go first, then all the parachutes to go, and then we jettison the lower heat shields when we've done that. Then we jettison this whole thing, and we're going to want, yeah, so we're going to want some separatrons or some oh, we need to set this delta V to Eve surface as well, because I have no idea what these are going to be like. The mites on, they are like surface level optimized, so hopefully they'll be but I feel like we should have these here. Actually, if we put them like offside slightly. Like so. I think that kind of works actually. Although maybe not quite so. Like so. We want these to go at the same time as all of this, because we hopefully splashed down at this point. So hopefully these go, and I'm just a bit wary of them. Actually, what we can do, because I'm just a bit wary of them, of these sort of blocking the. I'm thinking if we select a 20 meter cubic truss. That's so many trusses. Can we do this so that these SRBs, these mites, when they do go, don't have their do not have their exhaust thrust obstructed, is the idea. So does inflating these actually change the I don't think it actually does it? So, hopefully this is fine. These boosters, wherever they ended up, And again, I don't necessarily want this to be going sort of I'm just a bit wary of when these are all inflated. When we jettison them, they're just going to clip with these, which is going to be a bit annoying. So I want to make sure that these don't clip with the rockets. So I'm thinking if we take the entire assembly for a second and use some still kind of clipping in. Still not great. There we go. Then any part clipping will be above the. Hopefully, any part clipping will be above the above the level of the thing when we just need shields. I feel like this we might not need this like after we've got like before we even touch down. So I think TD12 decoupler, some separatrons. Like so we can jettison this at some point, like as we arrive. We're running out of height. How many parts is this now? 350 parts. We haven't even like worked out how to get into orbit yet. We haven't even worked out how to get into Eve yet. This is going to be a big launcher. But where there is a will, there is a way. But these could do it being higher up. Okay, so in theory, this is a thing that'll hopefully be able to land on Eve, we think. Probably not. Probably explode horribly. But, you know, it's going to be an attempt. What time are we on now? 20 to 7. Is that on there? So yeah, this thing currently weighs in at 185 tons. So we need to get this thing to Eve. I'm hoping we can use the heat shields to decelerate us. But I think it's probably going to be best if we just launch this. We launch each part separately, because yeah, this is going to be a again this thing like attaching a stage that will give it enough oomph to get to Eve, and then putting it into orbit is going to be. So going to Eve. It's like 1450. So we're about at least 1500 delta V in the transfer part, which is going to be a set of nuclear engines. Definitely. Oh yeah, we're also gonna. I was thinking we could maybe attach some fins so that this is a little bit more draggy. Kind of like. So, just kind of in the hope that that will make it fall down rather than sideways as it was doing. Oh yeah, we also wanted some more control wheels because we didn't have any attitude control at all. Where is the center of mass on this thing? I was thinking if we put some around the center of mass, maybe they'll be a little bit better at controlling it. So I'm thinking maybe like 3 above and 3 below. Kind of like that, and then if we grab let's grab some power first, so that we have some, and then some of these. Maybe we'll have some more attitude control if we do that. And I'm thinking if we build the transfer stage around it and then try and put a launcher stage underneath. So TD50 decoupler. Big ol', actually probably not quite big old fat boy. Probably too big on that though. Nope, that's too small. I want the large. And we want it to be liquid fuel. Then, oh yeah, we'll strut actually. Well, before we do anything else, we'll also like strut this like mad. Because who wouldn't want to add struts to make sure that we don't lose our lovely little rocket like we did in the previous attempt. Like so. Right, so strip that up. We will grab a engine plate. Let's make this a 5 node. Why not? Engines. I think that we do have. That's a nerve. Isn't the nerve? Yeah, that's the bog standard one. I think we have a slightly. This is slightly better. It's lighter. Has better vacuum for us. This is a. Oh wait, no, it's got worse vacuum. Oh, no, this is a smaller one. Okay, yes, yeah, so this only has 48 kilonewtons. This has 60. Did we unlock a better one? I don't know if we did. Nuclear ramjet presumably requires an atmosphere. I assume this requires intake atmosphere. Not great. I think because this is the Lanta is a smaller version of the nuclear engine. We ideally want a larger one, but so I guess we'll have to stick. And we also have to make sure this is using liquid fuel as propellant. Liquid fuel, liquid fuel, liquid fuel. What does Kerbal Engineer Redux have to think about this? 700, that's 0. What is stage 9? So stage 9 apparently has. Okay, so stage 9 has 2068 meters per second, but TWR of 0.11 sounds actually quite a lot considering how heavy this thing is and how many engines we're using. Is this right? Parts 4 of 196. No, I don't know what that means. Anyway, so again, this thing seems to have according to this, has 2000 delta V in this stage. Which sounds like a lot. I mean, I was planning on building the like the wider thing around this, which means that actually we need the payload fairing. Yeah, we need the payload fairing before this. Oh, careful. So payload fairing, 5 meters. That's not. That is not good enough. We need a spacer. I think we needed this previously, didn't we? Like, this is going to be true, because can we actually close this fairing? Oh, we can. We can close the fairing around it. There we go. And this isn't going to be a stupidly large rocket at all. So this is going to be our... okay, yeah. So this thing now thinks it has delta V. Although, having said that, this is definitely wrong. Okay, we can get rid of this because this is out of date now. Okay, so what are these, and why are they in stage 9? Okay, right, so these definitely want to be in their own stage. And this wants to be in its own stage as well. So it's 1524. This is set to vacuum, right? Yeah, you vacuum. 0.05 TWR. That's more what I expect. Like, I don't know what. No idea what Kerbal engineer Redux, why it thinks it's twice what it should be. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, we want to add in a radial stage here. So it makes sense for them to be at like here. Then we're going to need at least a 5 meter struct. If not another, let's add another 3 meters on the end of that. That should be just about wide enough, I think, to add in probably not quite so big. I'm thinking like 3.75 meter tank parts. So like these, maybe. Like so. Liquid fuel, because this is old, I mean nuclear. I don't even know if this will even work. Like, God knows how we get this thing into orbit. Actually, I think we can probably like more aggressively scale down at this point. Liquid fuel. Add a 2.5 meter section. And again, liquid fuel. Then scale it down. And then one of these. Again, liquid fuel. Liquid fuel. Liquid fuel. Again, Lord knows how long these burns will take. Fuel line. Have it running along there. Christ almighty. I think this might be a bit overkill. Like if it's really I mean, obviously this thing's gonna have essentially 0 TWR, but if it's really 9,000 delta V, that is way too much. I mean, I feel like, actually maybe, yeah, because it's 1524 in here. Like, maybe we want this outside bit to be our get to orbit vehicle, because because 1524 is in theory enough. I feel like even if we add the more nukes on the outside here, like say like even having another like 5 on the outside, so A502 0.05. It's still a lot. And again, this thing now weighs what? Yeah, I'm thinking maybe if we make this a bit bigger, and then we make these part of the actual like getting it into orbit job. So we drop this down a second, add in another liquid fuel tank. So if we add in a, say, one of these, make that liquid fuel. Obviously we lose some delta V, but we gain we lose some TWR, we gain some delta V. Then these become essentially like the actual like launch vehicle, hopefully, or at least like the second. These can be the second stage, of which we hook. So these will become second stage, and then below that we put stage 1, which is going to be an absolutely mammoth piece of tech. So if we grab again the S3 size, Big Puppy Man Destroyer, thank you for the follow. Hope you're enjoying my attempt to try and build something that will actually work. We shall see. Hello there. Hello there, yes. I am Mr. Schmedley. How are you doing this evening? Or morning, or afternoon, or wherever it is, whatever time it is where you are. And since these are really good fuel, we don't need to worry too much about changing them all. Well, these will be LFO, so we don't need to worry too much about. Doing quite good. I just made some lunch and I'm ready to watch some Kerbal Space Program. Well, thank you very much for choosing this particular Kerbal Space Program stream. I'm not sure how many there are currently live, but this is admittedly one of the less popular ones. But then, it's early days. Alright, we need more rocket. I think it was this one, wasn't it? Yep. Go down to, and I think that's probably about the right height actually. So this will hopefully be our second stage. Where are our nose cones gone? North cone. Add struts. I'd be surprised if this thing even loads on my computer. Although apparently I'm not sure if they've. It's not letting me. Okay, it wasn't letting me do anything with that. It does not like this at all. Might be because it's passing through the. If I start from the middle and go from there, go to the outside. No, it does not. It does not like that. I do not know why. You're still new to Kerbal Space Program. Ah, well, it's an eternal learning curve. Like I've got like at least 350 hours of this in various games now, and I'm still like learning how to do things. So, oh, there you are. Don't need you anymore. We want another. Problem is these are fuel tanks. They're basically structural at this point. Let's try that. So let's try popping this on top again. And let's try see if struts will actually work this time. It does not. I think. Oh, I'm guessing they're too long. They're probably too long. Yeah, I think there's a length limit, isn't there, of these things? Maybe we can bridge the gap a little with one of these. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think it's a length issue. Or not. There we go. Yeah, because I mean there is a limit on how long one of these struts can be. So yeah, we're kind of being a bit. So you're still new to Kerbal Space Program. Like how far have you got in terms of like have you managed to get into orbit? Have you managed to go to the moon? Like essentially like Kerbal Space Program is like an eternal, like it's like a step ladder of achievements. So like you've got sort of the early game ones, which are getting into orbit for the first time, which is surprisingly difficult when you're starting out. Like it took me ages to figure out how to get into orbit reliably with like a basic rocket. How I'm going to get this thing to orbit, I have no idea. Like I'd be surprised if I can actually get this to work, because we're like this is a difficult. Like, this is a giant thing which, like when it's in orbit, at that point you have The other thing I can really do is eat really easy is orbit curve, and I can't go to the Mun yet. Once I found like getting to the Mun. Are you playing on career or are you playing on career? Because I think if you manage to upgrade your tracking station to get patched conics, that makes and doing maneuvers that makes going to the Mun a lot easier. Right, we're gonna need lots of. Yeah, so like once this thing is in orbit, it's once you're in orbit, you've got a lot more time to do burns, so you can use a lot less TWR. Getting into orbit is a difficult thing. Like, but yeah, once you're in, because yeah, I think I had all kinds of trouble with the with getting things into orbit. I think it was because I bought the game with the 2 DLCs, with the Making History and the Breaking Ground. And the Making History includes a bunch of like Soviet-style parts, including some pods, which like the spherical like Soyuz-style pods, I think, and they unlock earlier in the tech tree than the equivalent Apollo, like Gemini and Apollo style ones, for the same number of Kerbals. So it's really tempting to, it's really tempting to use those because you can take more Kerbals on a mission, and then you've got more options. You can do more things. Downside is early game, if you haven't figured out what drag is, and you haven't unlocked payload fairings yet, those spherical command pods are incredibly draggy, and you always put them on top of the rocket. So cue endless attempts at getting into orbit, having the entire rocket tumble end over end, and wondering what's going wrong. Then figuring out, you put fins on the back, and it's a lot easier. Even with fins on the back, those spherical ones are can be tricky to get into orbit until you put them in a payload fairing, and then it's fine. Right, we will try strutting this again. I don't know what the length limit of struts is, but it's more than that apparently. It'll do. Right, so engines. So this is going to be hopefully our second stage. So the second stage is going to boost us into an orbit around Kerbin, hopefully, and then maybe have enough fuel in it left over to get us out of Kerbin's sphere of influence. We will need separatrons on. We'll need lots of separatrons on this. You bought the game and both DLC are really cheap. That's good, because I think there's a lot of functionality the DLC adds, especially Breaking Ground with the deployable science and stuff. Which it's kind of that stuff is like useful throughout the game, like even from the early game. So I think getting the whole thing at once is pretty good. Right, I'm looking at engines. Skippers maybe. Do this, then make it a bare mount, like so. I mean 3,000 meters per second with an incredibly piddly TWR, but so 4.45 is more respectable. It's not amazing. I mean, that'll take us a while to accelerate up to. What are these ones? These ones are vacuum 650. I like the idea of vectors, but these are not. They're very they've got a lot of thrust vectoring, which I need to tone down. Maybe if we replace these with main sails. Or maybe even mastodons. Because these are more powerful in vacuum. Do I think people will land on Mars at the end of 2020s? I don't think people will. Like 9 years is, it's like landing on Mars is a very, very difficult problem. There's basically there's aspects of like long-term human space flight outside of the magnetosphere which we don't even know yet. Like, there's I think it's again like it's kind of like going to the moon but like on steroids. Like it's a culmination of many technological challenges, a lot of which we don't even know yet. I mean, there's like, obviously we've kind of solved things with like getting to Mars and landing on Mars for like things, like, we're able to send like rovers, a Perseverance rover and that kind of thing, but manned spaceflight is a whole different ball game. And like, it's an ambitious goal, but I feel like if we wanted to achieve it, it would take like essentially an international, like every international space organization working together to that singular goal, to send a single ship with an internationally sourced crew. Like, again, end of the decade, I don't think a single nation will be able to do it on its own. Like, I don't think, I'd be surprised if, I mean, like, NASA works at a snail's pace anyway, but like they're very slow and methodical. But you never know. I mean, I kind of, it's a sort of, there's a lot of unknowns, especially like, again, long-term space flight. Like, there's a lot of issues we know about, which is just from being in orbit, like, the loss of muscle mass, the loss of, like, even storing enough food for what essentially is a 6-month journey. Like, it's 6 months there, and then, like, 6 months back if you turn around and come back straight away. And bear in mind that, like, you might have to wait for the planets to be in alignment, etc. There's, you're spending more than a year in space. And even just spending that amount of time in Earth or in low Earth orbit on the International Space Station has health ramifications, like significant ones. Not to mention, again, like dealing with solar wind and cosmic rays that we're going to be bombarded with outside of Earth's magnetosphere. It's probably possible, but again, it would take. It would basically take everyone getting their shit together, collectively as a species, I think, to achieve that goal. I could see maybe like an unmanned sort of demonstration of, say, like an Artemis sort of Mars thing with no people in it, just showing that the capsule itself can get there and back. Maybe an unmanned starship. Maybe that's a big maybe, because there's a lot of technical challenges to even get Starship into a state where it could actually go to Mars. Anyway, engines, big engines, Mastodon engines. They are big, and they are confused. Why are you confused, Mastodons? There we go. I don't think these are good. I don't know. They clip too much. Maybe I could try these ones. These are. Come on. There we go. Right. Bear mount these. Still not great. The rhinos are big uns. Okay, maybe not with a central one. Maybe if we... Maybe just quad attach node. Let's try this with Mastodons again. Yeah, I know that SpaceX wants to land people on Mars for the end of the 2020s. I know they want to. Whether they want to land them alive is another question. Like, and bear in mind that, like, full disclosure, I am somewhat skeptical when it comes to Elon Musk and his claims, shall we say. They get what they want to do and what's actually feasible. I mean, I could definitely. I mean, like personally at the moment, like from what I've been seeing and kind of like trying to be kind of realistic about it, I don't think Starship itself would be the thing that actually takes us to Mars. I think like when sort of like the sort of what's the term? When the sort of promise of Starship meets the reality of actually building a machine that works, I don't see Starship, at least the way it's currently designed, being sort of safe for people to use. And I think like it'll end up being, if it does end up being fully reusable, and again, that's kind of a big if, I could see Starship being like, you know, a pretty decent heavy payload to low Earth orbit. I could definitely see Starship being used to build something in Earth orbit that would then go to Mars. That's probably what I imagine would happen. But Starship itself, I would be surprised if that actually happens. Right, these are again what we're looking at here. 0.75, better, but still, I don't like the engines clipping into each other like this. It's we are somewhat limited by these slightly narrower parts. What we're looking at here. So these are 2,000. No, these are 1,300 kilonewtons in vacuum. These are more, so we can probably get away with. Let's try these, and then if they, I think these will still clip into each other, but they do a bit. What does this give us? This gives us, that's close enough to 1 meter per second of delta, like 1 probably to get us into orbit. Why does nuclear thrust have such low thrust speeds? It's thrust weight, like thrust thrust amounts. It's to do with so I think like the amount of thrust is like proportional to essentially the momentum of whatever you're throwing out the back. So if you're throwing a lot of stuff out the back very quickly, you get a lot of thrust. If you're throwing a little bit if you throw a lot of stuff out the back, you know, pretty quickly, you get a lot of thrust but not great ISP. So ISP, which is essentially how efficient your engine is related to the exhaust velocity. So the faster your engine throws stuff out the back, the more efficient it is. And then, like, the more stuff it throws out the back, the higher thrust, essentially. So the nuclear engine doesn't throw as much matter out the back, but it throws it a lot faster than a chemical engine does. So chemical engines are great at throwing a lot of like mass out very quickly, but they're not as efficient because they're not throwing, like, they're throwing it out at, like, I guess sort of supersonic speed or maybe hypersonic. I'm not exactly sure, but the idea behind nuclear engines is, and like ion engines is that ion engines are a good example because you can get like tens of kilometers a second of exhaust velocity because you're accelerating the ions using electrostatics, which is, you know, pretty efficient way of doing it. But obviously the individual ions are not very heavy, so basically the nuclear engines aren't throwing as much propellant out the back per second as chemical engines do. So they take a lot longer to get going, but they can get going a lot faster because they're using a lot less fuel to get there. Anyway, so yes, we have this thing, which is hopefully going to be our second stage. I will save this because cripes. Actually, can I save this in Eve Transfer 1 using the new folder functionality? Eve sample returns. So if this hopefully is our second stage, and also like probably like majority of getting to Eve stage, then, because again this is a TWR of 0.82 in vacuum, like if we make this Kerbal surface, this will be significantly lower. Oh no, what? Oh no, yeah, oh yes, sorry, yes, because Kerbal's Eve's gravity is stronger than Kerbal's. Of course, I forgot. So yeah, so if we change that to Kerbal vacuum, then oh yeah, that's a lot better. You don't even need that many engines. I think we could probably get away with 3 then. Because again, like the more the more engines you have, the more mass you need to bring with you. So if we change these to triple, maybe these won't clip into each other as much. No, we won't need to do that. So 0.89 TBY, again that's fine for getting like circularizing. We do want some separatrons because we want these to be pushed away. We want these. Nice, they're actually in the right. Oof, not that. No, silly. Oh yeah, I think they improved the staging, the default staging logic, didn't they? I might stick some mites at the bottom here as well. Actually, no, probably not. We don't want to like have to. If we have more thrust at the bottom and the top, then it'll rotate into the thing and destroy it. Am I going to use gravity assist? I might try it if I get an opportunity with this one, because again, because this doesn't have any Kerbals on it. You know, it's not. I'm playing on hard mode, so if I lose Kerbals, I lose them forever. So I'm trying to be like, you know, cautious when it comes to Kerbals. But this is going to be unmanned, so I do want to try some gravity assists. Although if we're going to Eve, there's not really a lot of opportunity for it, because Gilly doesn't have that much gravity. You could probably maybe try and use a moon gravity assist on like leaving Kerbal, but again, you kind of like it's more difficult to get the angle right for ejecting. I wanted more separatrons. Cool, right, so that's going to be hopefully circularizing and getting us pretty much all the way to Eve. I do not want to know what the avionics is like on this thing, like the actual control ability. Better. What are we doing? So we have a. Yeah, I can imagine this thing's probably not going to. Actually, we'll have to see. I haven't done any solar panels on this thing either, have we? Or control, or radios, communications. Where is the 8888? Should pop this on here. And there are more. There should be some more solar panel options now, shouldn't there? Yeah. Oh, these are circular ones. Nice. Right, so again, hopefully we can use thrust vectoring and, well, so we want these to be probably medium long. Actually, no, we want them to be long because we want them to be the same length. Because hopefully that means that the right. So we don't need coupling because these are decouplers. We want big fuel tanks, so we want. Yeah, medium long should do. This is the wrong one. We want this one. And then we want still the smaller version. I want the bigger version. I want the big one here. And then we want maybe these. This will be fine. Just a few struts. Hold it all together. These struts are basically indestructible. Right, so the question is, how many big engines do we need? I really want to make sure it's really connected. I don't know how strong these struts are. Like, I don't think I've ever actually had a strut break on me, but bear in mind that these things are really heavy, and there's going to be a lot of forces acting. I just want to make sure they, I've lost enough enough launchers from insufficient strutting. I think there was an earlier one where I think it might have been. It was in this save, I think, so it'll be one of my earlier streams where probably find on YouTube, where I think the payload just fell out of the rocket, of the fairing, because it wasn't strutted up enough. So try to learn from our mistakes here at Kerbal Space Center. So I think we just go straight for the big boy, the 1500 kilonewton. If we can get it on that. Again, bare mount. You will want to be in stage 14. No, not those. You, stage 14. Right, so we need to get this TWR above yeah, get 1.26. I think that's all of them. So 1252, 1.26. Oh wait, that's in vacuum. We want to know what it is in sea level, which will be less. At 1.16. It's not great. It'll also be lower when we actually add fins as well, because we want some aerodynamic controls. Because we're probably not controlling this thing any other way. Right, Alright, so that's 1151. TWR 1.16 is not great. So this might work. That'll be. I wouldn't mind dropping some SRBs on just to give it a bit more off the pad. But I'm not sure if it's worth doing that. Because this should hopefully be enough to get us into. I mean, we can launch it and find out. If we can get this thing into orbit. What is this thing's burn time? 1.83 seconds to burn on this one. This is going to be quite a lot of burn. Time we're on 7:30, so we've got about half an hour left. Again, we can try launching it. Actually, I do need to double check my action groups. So the default one's going to be controlled from here. We want custom 10 to be that. I feel like custom. Oh no, yeah we do. Actually, what about custom 9? Custom 9 doesn't do anything, so custom 9 will be controlled from here. Then custom 10 will be the deployment of all this malarkey. Toggle solar panel, toggle antenna, and then presumably high atmosphere. I use mods in my Kerbal, so I do as well. I've now installed a bunch. If you I think if you look below, there should be a list of the mods I'm using. Some of them are not technically compatible with the latest version, but if I still have them installed, they still seem to work. So high atmosphere landed. So yeah, landed extends those solar panels, which is good. Right, so this is check staging, which is going to take about half an hour because there's so much of it. So stage 1, all of these, hopefully. Oh yeah, we need to come out. So stage 1, all of these things go. Stage 2, we decouple these. Where is this decoupler? This needs to go in here. Otherwise we end up dragging this thing behind us, which we don't want. $3,000 tons. Right, so these all go. These engines light up. Then we lose these. We fire up the nuclear engines. Get rid of the payload fairing. Then we go up here. We then lose this top bit. Then the rest of it is all about. Yeah, so the next thing will be, so then we hopefully get to even orbit. We then start going to the atmosphere. We use these things to slow down. We'll jettison this, use these to actually try and do our landing. So the idea is we'll try and aero brake using these, going like into Eve's atmosphere to try and aero capture. Then eventually we're trying to land on Eve. So we come in with all of these. We hopefully coming in bottom first. So hopefully these disappear. Then what's this? What is this? What's this doing here? That wants to go before them. So this needs to go here. and we're doing that before we enter the atmosphere. So yeah, because we're getting rid of so we're getting rid of the bottom stage as we enter the atmosphere. Then once we've hopefully slowed down enough, we get rid of these. Then hopefully we deploy all the drogue chutes, then deploy all the parachutes, and hopefully at that point we're landing. We're traveling slow enough that we do I use action groups? Yes, I do have some action groups configured, mostly for doing the science at different stages. Although I don't think the orbital science is now on this thing, so I think the orbital science will have to go on the other. So we're going to send this, and the idea is this is going to get to Eve, land on Eve. Hopefully we're traveling slow enough for parachutes. Once we're on the parachutes, we drop these, which are the lower heat shields. Then, hopefully, at this point, we splash down or land gently on Eve's surface. We then do a load of science. Then we hit this action group, which will hopefully essentially jettison the frame. So then we just end up with a rocket. And then we have this thing, which essentially launches the rocket. We have some asparagus staging, and then the upper stage hopefully gets us into orbit around Eve. And then once this is in orbit around Eve, we will send a second orbital thing to rendezvous with it, collect the science from it, and then return to Kerbal. This is the plan. I do want to try launching this thing because I have a feeling actually we want some launch clamps. Because I'll be surprised if this thing can even. Again, the TLR of the first stage is not great. I'd rather have it a little bit higher. 1.16 is going to take way too long. You're going to be fighting gravity, so yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, try adding some SRBs, some big old SRBs to the outside. Make this thing even bigger. Because who even needs a computer anyway? Oh, they changed the they changed the thing of the clampotrons, didn't they? That's cool. We are going to need a spacer. Probably not too big a one, because I don't know how to dock. That's something I need to learn to do. Yeah, I think when I did the in-game docking tutorial, I found it a little bit difficult to kind of get the hang of. There are some pretty good YouTube video tutorials. There's a forum post I found which basically kind of like broke it down, and it also explained this idea of push retrograde and pull prograde. The idea that you can, when you have the nav ball, when you point your ship in a direction and burn, your prograde marker gets pulled towards the direction you're pointing, and your retrograde marker gets pushed away from it. You can directly away from it. And you can use that to keep lining up. So when you're in target mode on the final approach, so in terms of like doing the original rendezvous, it's easiest to do it from circular orbit to circular orbit. It's basically a case of manipulating maneuver node until you get a close-up encounter. Then when you're within a couple of kilometers, when you're actually approaching your target and you have the nav ball in target mode, you can use this like push retrograde pull prograde thing to nudge your prograde and retrograde markers onto target and anti-target respectively. So essentially, like, so long as they're lined up, you're traveling directly towards the target. And then it's a case of sort of like slowing yourself down whilst doing those steering things enough so that you come to 0 meters per second about when you. I've done quite a few docks on this set of streams, so but it's worth taking the time to figure it out because like a lot of the later game is unlocked like it's a lot easier to plan missions when you know that you can do a rendezvous. I mean, I think the Juno mission that I've done has been like 3 or 4 rendezvous, because like a rendezvous at Ike with like I sent a lander separately to Ike, sent like the mothership, we do a docking with the Ike lander, we do the Ike landing, we take off from Ike, we then dock again with the mothership, then the mothership goes and transfers to Duna, then we meet up with the Duna lander, dock with it, send the Duna lander down, come back, and there's like 4 dockings, and then there's an additional one because I also there's a couple more because if there's any like leftover fuel in other stages, then you can if you put a docking port on that thing, on that ship, then you can transfer the fuel into your mothership. So at the moment there's like a ship full of fuel around Juno, just ready to come home when the gonna need Clydesdales. Let's not attach them upside down. That would be a bad time. Anyway, that's about what we want. Yeah, docking is, again, I think I've seen it like described by people on the Kerbal Space Program subreddit as one of the most difficult skills in Kerbal to figure out. But when you can do it reliably, yeah, there's a lot more options. Like you can do Apollo-style moon landings, like you can design specific landers, rather than trying to design a ship that can do everything. Yeah. But again, if you're still new to the game, yeah, it can feel daunting. But the first time you actually pull it off, it is genuinely an amazing feeling. I mean, it's the same with like the first time you manage to land on the moon. First time you manage to land on another planet, it's like it's an escalating like staircase of achievements, and you feel pretty good after you feel great after you achieve each one, because like you've mastered like the next sort of most difficult thing in the game. And then eventually, when docking gets boring, you can get MechJeb do it. Alright, this is going to need some separatrons to encourage these boosters to go away from the main ship when they detach. And see how well the again will be where are these there? These shouldn't be there. They should be in their own little place. Okay, well, to be fair, we'll be controlling the liquid engines, so basically, according to this, the liquid engines would run out before the solid rocket boosters did, if we ran them at full power the entire time. But because we might not necessarily be doing that, means that we'll hopefully still have some fuel left in these by the time we actually get rid of the SRBs, because yeah, okay, right, so we need some launch clamps, a lot of launch clamps. Where have you gone? There you are. Because again, I have no idea if this will even work. Like, oh no, no, I clicked the wrong thing. Alright, so that is something of a rocket. So it's 1,300 meters again. We should be able to get into orbit at least. If we can get into orbit, then this thing can hopefully get us to Eve. This thing is a monstrosity. Also, there aren't any launch clamps on the middle section. Should probably fix that. There you go. Right, I have no idea how this is going to handle, or how this is going to behave when we try and fly it. But that's part of the fun of this thing. Again, not putting any Kerbals on it, so it's not going to be the end of the world if it does explode horribly, which it probably will, because there's a lot of rocket here to go bang. Right, again, double check staging, so all the launch claps go, all of these engines go, then we lose the SRBs, then we switch to our quote second stage. Then we jettison all of that stuff. Then we have our nuclear stage. We get rid of the payload fairing, and then we've checked all that stuff up there. So hopefully this will all just work. Because if it doesn't, then we don't get a new sample return mission. But what we will do is we'll send a bunch of orbital science stuff on the other thing, so that we at least, because I mean that should be relatively easy to set up and send, so we'll at least hopefully get some orbital information returned, even if we don't manage to pull off a landing and return to orbit. But yeah, let's head on back to the. Oh, it's 10 to 8 already. Spent pretty much all the time doing this thing. So we might as well try and launch it and see what happens, because then you get to see something. Hopefully fun happen. So let's see. It is currently daylight, which is good. So launch pad. Launch new mission. Is that the one? Yeah, it's definitely not that one. It's definitely this one. Cool. Right, so let's hit launch there on this. And then whilst it takes about half an hour to actually load in all the parts, we will go to in-flight. Again, I think I remembered everything. Again, it's been a few weeks since I played this game, so I might have forgotten something. Yeah, I'll see if I can find a link to that image post on a forum post I found, because I mean there's a number of times I've replied to Kerbal Space Program Reddit posts about people like asking for help with docking, and I found like that. I think that this image could have explained it in such a way that it just kind of made it obvious. And also the whole push retrograde pull prograde thing is useful for things like landing, because if you set your nav ball to surface mode, then you get your velocity vectors relative to the surface of the planet, which takes into account its rotation. And once you've got that, the push retrograde thing, pull prograde, works in that frame of reference as well. So what you can do is when you're coming in to land on an airless body, at least, I wonder if Kerbal Space Program 2 will have aliens. Well, I mean, I guess aliens relative to the Kerbals. Where are the launch clamps? This isn't what we want. No, recover vessel. That is the wrong thing. I'm sure we saved it. Do you have to launch from That's only the upper stage. That's not going anywhere. So a lot of waiting for nothing there. Because I'm pretty sure it was 600 parts was the final thing. So so if I have aliens relative to the Kerbals, I'm not sure. Because I mean, obviously the Kerbals themselves look like little aliens, but maybe there might be like an Easter egg or something. Right. So where's the launch pad? So. I can have to do it from the VAB. Hold on. There's something about not being able to launch something from. There doesn't seem to be any subfolder navigation in the main launch thing, which is a bit silly. But now I was saying when you're coming in to land on an airless body, if you have you can use push retrograde to push your velocity vector so that it's pointing straight up and down, and then you're landing vertically, which means you don't have to worry. Because like one of the when you come to like try landing on the moon for the first time, and I did this, I think everyone does. Your lander flips because you're coming in from orbit, so you have a lot of lateral velocity, and you're supposed to kind of do like a reverse gravity turn to cancel out your velocity, your horizontal velocity as you reach the ground. But what normally happens is, you'll land on you have some sideways movement when you land. You're landing on a probably landing on a right. Okay, that is not the thing I want to launch. I want to open up the Eve transfer one. It's this one I want. Load. But yeah, so when you learn how to cancel out your vertical velocity, it means you're much less likely to tip over. But I think when I first landed on the moon, or the last couple of times, tipped over. It's done it a few times in this save as well, where I've built like landers that are quite tall and not very wide, and they've tipped over. Like this is part of the reason why with the Moho mission, and the Dres mission we tested the lander design on the moon because the moon is similar enough to Moho and Dres that you can use it as like a testing ground, and the lander just tipped over when it landed because it was so tall. Because we put a rover in it. Right. Okay. Right. This is the thing we want. Main launch pad, I think. So let's try launching this. Again, 5-minute wait. But yeah, we try because it Does the ship you built have enough fuel to get to like the Mun? It should do. I mean, in theory, if I've done it right, it should have enough fuel to get to Eve, which is where we want to go, which is enough fuel to leave Kerbin's sphere of influence and to get to Eve's thing. This one probably wouldn't be able to land on the Mun because it's designed for atmospheric landing. It's like it doesn't. So when you're landing on the Mun or one of the or a body doesn't have atmosphere, you need to you need to do a powered landing. So you have to so you can't use parachutes or anything. So you design it so that it has enough fuel and enough thrust to be able to slow itself down, land, and then take off again. Whereas with an atmosphere, your landing profile is a lot different because you can use parachutes, and you also have to account for atmospheric heating as well, because which Eve's atmosphere is like the least forgiving, I think, of all the bodies you can actually land on. Eve's is the least forgiving atmosphere in terms of overheating and exploding. Once you get through the overheating thing, then it's the easiest to land on because the atmosphere is so thick that sun landing. I don't know because I think the sun's presumably like Joule in that there's no surface to actually land on. You get down to a certain depth and you just get destroyed. Because again, I mean, you could in theory include Joule's atmosphere as like. Because I'm assuming Joule's is presumably thicker than Eve's. There's a lot more of it, but you can't actually land on Joule, so At least not in this version of the game. Maybe in Kill This Program too. That'd be cool actually. If you if you had the like just dual and like Jupiter being like there might be a solid surface down there, but the pressure would be so great that you wouldn't be able to build anything that could land on it. I also have the Outer Planets mod installed as well, so we have Sarnus and all the Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto analogs as well. So we have more things to do. Okay, we have MechJeb, so I think we're about to load in. Okay, we're in, and it'll be fun to see what the lag is like on this thing. So let's turn off landing guidance because there's thing ain't landing here. Right, so try and get a decent view. Let's turn on that. This we think up is up, which is good. I'll be surprised if we can manage a half decent gravity turn out of this thing. Yeah, let's wait for the frame rate to catch up. Let's attempt a screeny. Because it is nearly 8 o'clock, so we'll try and get this thing into orbit, and if we manage it, then we'll leave it there. But I'll be surprised if we do, because this is going to be I mean, there's a lot of delta V at this top stage, upper stage, so hopefully we'll be okay. But try doing a gravity turn now, but I say try, being the publishing word. Probably pointing to pro grade at this point. We are pushing our apparatus further up than we are doing. We want to get that apparatus out to about a minute, which probably ain't going to happen at this rate. But this is probably going to cause a horrendous explosion. Oh, that was dodgy. That was dodgy. I hit that I definitely hit that too soon. Like I could have Right. This is not great because we're our TWR is significantly lower now, and we, yeah, we're not very high up at all. And oh yeah, our apoapsis is still only 30 seconds away and getting closer, so I don't think we're gonna achieve orbit here. We're just going to continuously burn and maybe burning higher to. Yeah, we're not even getting out of the atmosphere at this rate. Oh, your apoapsis is only 25 kilometers. We'll keep going, we'll try, but I don't think we're going to get very far. Because we're going to be hitting apoapsis, and we're going to basically hit the highest point in our arc, and then we'll start going down again. So. Keep the apoapsis at 15 seconds away, then that's, you know, again, we're still fighting the atmosphere here. Okay, apoapsis is getting further away. But yeah, we're just like a lot of our delta V is just being lost to it's being like we're not even halfway up, right? We definitely need to get our apoapsis further up. Again, if we get into orbit, the nuclear stage should have enough delta. I mean, it'll take forever to burn, but okay, this is working. Like our apoapsis is going up. Like we're getting. Like the time to get there is going up, which is the direction we want to go in. This is a very this is not a conventional launch profile. This is definitely a balls up. But maybe we can salvage it. If we can't do it in 1900 meters per second of delta V, we're not doing it at all. Because the nuclear engines will never get us out of atmosphere. I need to get our apoapsis out of the atmosphere first off. The plan is to get this thing back from Eve, yes. Oh, this won't come back from Eve. The thing we'll send to dock with it in Eve, around Eve, will come back. Yeah, we can probably like point ourselves back more towards. Okay, let's cut our engines there and see if MechJeb can give us a reasonable maneuver planner. Circularize apoapsis, create node. We have power. Oh no. Oof. Okay, we need to start the burn in 1 minute 24 seconds. We're probably going to rotate around by then. 681 to get to circularize this. So we're going to be able to get into orbit. I mean, it's a very, very strange way of doing it. Like, yeah, this thing's got no steering when the engines aren't running. So I'm just going to wait until we get close to a thing and then steer ourselves in the direction we want to go. But we might have enough to get into orbit, and then some left over to get ourselves towards leaving leaving Kerbin's sphere of influence. Although it's going to take several passes. Okay, let's. Okay. We're pointing the way we want to point now, which is the important thing. So we're having to use thrust vectoring to achieve that. But it looks like we might be able to get this thing into orbit. Whether we can get it at Eve is another question entirely. But yeah, no, this thing will not be coming back from Eve. The idea is that this thing will go to Eve, it will land on Eve, and it will get back into orbit around Eve is the plan. Whether it will achieve that is an entirely other matter. The plan will then be to design something else, which will basically be a thing which will go to Eve's orbit, arrive at Eve, stay in orbit around Eve, then rendezvous with this thing in orbit around Eve, collect the science from it, and then get that science back to Kerbin. Right, 7 seconds to start burning. Basically, the idea here is that once we're in orbit, you can do multiple passes. You can do a lot with nuclear engines then. Of course, it'll be an incredibly long burn time, and we're going to be relying very heavily on aerobraking to get to capture at Eve. Is the other thing. Do. We're in an orbit, I think. No, we're not. Our periapsis height is still 64 kilometers, which is not great. Okay, we're in an orbit. Let's time warp to stop spinning. There's a little trick there. If you go into time warp and then you come out of time warp, the vessel stops rotating. We are barely in an orbit though. Okay, so let's have a look. It's not a great orbit, and I'll admit. And we have virtually no ability to actually steer ourselves when the engines aren't running. Again, not great. We will, however, deploy our solar panels and communications because we're going to need those. We do have 600 meters per second of delta V for hopefully getting ourselves most of the way out of Kerbin's sphere of influence. So yeah, this thing will be you can try circularizing at whatever it is, 115. We can try it. Basically, it'll be easier to do 158, so get our periapsis to a similar amount. Let's go down here and there we go, so what's that, 65. 2-second burn. We hit this, how long is it going to take to rotate to get there? It is so slow. It is moving, but it's moving very, very slowly. So if we can use not the engines to do steering, then that means it makes maneuvering a lot easier. Yeah, we can turn vessel off for now. But yeah, so the plan will be to launch, so we have a bunch of communication satellites that will launch at some point, which again will go to, the plan will be to go to Eve. What's our orbital inclination like? It's not great, it's not terrible. You're right, mate. So we'll eventually get to the maneuver node. I forgot to put any RCS on this thing, which is going to make maneuvering for like fine-tuning an Eve approach fun. Come on. You're so close. We like managed to get into orbit, which is kind of surprising considering how bad the launch profile was. Okay, that's close enough. Let's warp to maneuver. Don't know what to see here, but yeah, hopefully it'll. Again, this thing will have enough altitude to get to Eve, assuming we can aerobrake with it, which might be a tall order. It might just be a case of just letting it aerobrake till it lands, rather than trying to like maneuver it into an orbit. $15 seconds. Autosave. Okay, we'll start burning at 5 because. 158, that'll do. Okay, this thing's in orbit now, so we'll leave it. We'll head back to the Space Center. double check, but I think it's, yeah, relatively circular orbit. Again, inclination isn't super great, but we can worry about that later. But yeah, so we'll head back to the Space Center, which apparently we seem unable to do. Why is that then? Okay. We can do it now, apparently. But yes, it's 17 minutes past, so we've gone past the 2 hour mark, so I think that will do for this evening. Might be around on Monday, I'm not sure. I'm thinking since things are sort of opening up again, like, you know, arguable whether they should. I think it's a bit stupid they are doing, but essentially, like, social life is going a bit more active, so I may drop back to just doing Thursday streams rather than doing Thursday and Monday. But I will decide nearer the time. I don't think I'm doing anything this Monday, but I shall cancel that stream if I decide not to do it. Cool, right, let's save this and go back to the main menu before I forget. Cool, yeah, so that'll do. So yeah, thank you for joining me. Thank you, Big Puppy Man Destroyer, for the follow and for, you know, chatting with me whilst I've been trying to build this thing and, you know, kind of almost failed to launch it. Yeah, like that launch profile, not great. When you get to like really big launches, you sort of have to start being a bit less aggressive with your gravity turns, and yeah, that was not very efficient. Don't do it. Do as I say, not as I do. But yes, thanks for joining us, for joining me, us. I'm not multiple people. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, if you're watching us on YouTube, you know, like and subscribe, etc. Again, like, I'm not super sure about Monday, but I will try and keep to at least next Thursday for the next one of these. So yeah, cheerio.